Scorpio, what do you really, truly, honestly need to commit and devote your time to this month? Spoiler alert, it's not what you think. It's not something that is going to be obvious. Stay tuned and get all the deets. Welcome. I am Stacy the Black Feather Intuitive, and I'm so excited to be tuning in for your astrology energy with a transformational tarot for you on my Aligned Astro chat today. And of course, this is connected to my Black Feather Couture Divining a VIP Life series, where we are talking all things transformation, all things metaphysical, and so happy to have you here. What we're going to be tapping into this month, I feel, is very connected to, we're always in a state of transformation. How are you choosing to transform in all of this energy? And we are going to pull an overarching theme card for you from The Sacred Creators by Chris Ann. And then the card deck that I pulled for you is the Tarot of the Divine. So let's get to it and see what we got coming down the pike. Okay, so we're going to pull our overarching theme. And I feel like the astrology for this month for you guys is really going to be about paying attention to what really matters, what lights your fire and floats your boat. And if there's anything that's going on that doesn't light your fire and float your boat, the question is going to be, why am I doing it? So I feel that you're going to be kind of separating the wheat from the chaff, but let's see what we got. Oh, feed your artist. I love this. Okay. So this makes a lot of sense with what I'm getting, that you are really paying attention to what it is that you really need to be devoting your time and your energy to. And I feel like it's because you need to be feeding your artist. Not only are you going to be needing to feed your artist because your artist just needs to be fed, but I feel like it is setting you up for this next chapter of your life. And you Scorpios, I feel, are collectively entering into a chapter of your life that you are starting to feel is a possibility. Like, this can happen. I've been thinking about it for a long time, but now we're in a space and a place where it can actually occur. And I'm excited about that. What does that all mean? So when we're getting this Feed Your Artist card, I feel like, it's exactly that, stepping into flow. And what I keep getting for you is, what am I committing to? What am I devoting myself to? If it feels like an obligation rather than a responsibility, cut that shit out. And I want to say, be in a space and a place of, how can I bring my artist to the forefront of all of the things that I do on a daily basis? I like to say, how do we make dishes and laundry more spiritual, right? It's the same kind of concept. How do I bring the artistry? How do I bring that creative spirit that flows through me all the time into the forefront of the choices and the decisions that I make? It doesn't necessarily mean that you need to cut out things that you're doing or stop doing the things that you're doing, but I do feel strongly that the message here is about recognizing and understanding that it's the process. It's a different approach that is required. So with that, let's see where you are right now in your transformational journey. What part of you is shifting, rising, or dissolving? Oh, beautiful. Four of Cups. So I feel very much that when we're talking about this Four of Cups energy, it is for you about recognizing that you have been sitting in wait. You have been feeling a bit delayed, feeling a bit stagnant in the movement, in what you've wanted to do. You've had these wonderful dreams. You've had the impetus to bring them forward, but every time you take the step forward, something kind of holds you back, whether it's your own fears or concerns or some external factor that stops you from really kind of embracing it. And I want to say digging your feet into it and getting some traction. And I feel like the Four of Cups really in the last few months has actually been your friend. And Four of Cups we don't often think of as friends, But I feel like the Four of Cups really has been your friend because it is about divine timing for you at this point. And June brings with it some astrological pops on your particular chart, where things are landing in your chart, especially around Jupiter. So wherever Jupiter is in your chart, pay attention, because this is the time now where that traction can be gained. You're not building a house on sand. You're building the house now on terra firma. And I feel like that's why this Four of Cups has been here. I also see Four of Cups as a card of meditation. And I feel like when we are looking at this energy in terms of where you're at right now, meditation is going to really help you to hone in on what the next best step is for you to take in order to now start to build on that foundation. Again, the idea is viable. The idea is sound. You've had the idea for a while. You even have a little bit of a plan. But there is this energy of, okay, I need to tweak the plan, or I need to make sure that the plan is actually still viable, that it's really going to get me to where it is that I want to be. So where you're at right now is you're recognizing that, okay, the divine order and timing has been there for me. That is shifting now. And now I need to make sure that I've got my ducks in a row, because I'm about to take a step and I want to be confident in the step that I'm taking. I'm really drawn to this particular bird. I don't know exactly why. I don't know what type of bird it is, but it's looking up. It's feeling hopeful, but it's looking up at the cup. And I feel like the energy here is it's not going too far into the future. It's not thinking too much in advance. It's focusing on what's right in front of it, but it's also looking up. And I feel like you can really step into that energy by giving yourself permission to look, what are the next step or two steps ahead? That's where I need to put my focus. I don't need to worry about the next 10 or 15 steps. I just need to worry about this step or two ahead, because it's totally reachable. It's totally doable if I give myself permission to take those steps forward. I'm also hearing, don't ask for help. Now, that's an odd message to receive. What is that all about? I feel like it's don't ask for help from other people, because this is the part of your journey that you need to own. It needs to have your energy in its purity. Once you get this step 1 and step 2 handled and under your belt, then I feel that you can invite in other help, invite in other people to support you. But the step 1 and the step 2 feels like it's got to be from you. Wow, that's really interesting. Okay, the catalyst. What's fueling or hindering this transformation? And is this resistance or rocket fuel? Oh, interesting. 3 of coins. Okay, I have to tell you, I've been doing, this is like the 8th reading, I think, that I've done of the 12. And the 3 of coins has come up in, I want to say, probably 3/4 of them. So, and I find it interesting that I got the message, don't ask for help, because here's the 3 of coins. Here's the collaboration piece. But actually what I'm feeling here with the 3 of coins coming up in terms of catalyst is it's about paying attention to the details. And I feel that while the initial step or 2 needs to be connected to you, it needs to be pure with your energy, feeding your artist, allowing your flow and your artistry to set the tone. The 3 of coins is coming through to say, and also while you are putting your own energy into it, you need to also fine tune that energy. You need to make it your signature energy, your signature move, something that no one else can copy or take away or manufacture for their own. I feel that there's a little bit of for the entrepreneurial Scorpios out there, I feel that this is a little bit of a message around something that you are building, releasing, bringing into the mix. It is your baby. It needs to be your baby. There's so many people out there that try to steal ideas and things. So keep that to yourself and launch it or work towards it first. And then on the flip side, you can, sort of involve other people into the mix. But this is about learning a skill, paying attention to the details, and really being, I want to say, basic with the details. This isn't about bringing bedazzling everything and bringing 25 different things into the mix. This is about making sure that what you're launching, what you're building, what you're creating, what you're putting out there is sound and solid. You can jazzify it up later, but the actual thing itself needs to be sustainable. It needs to serve its purpose. And I feel like that's why the Three of Coins is coming up. When we talk about this as a catalyst or perhaps a block and fuel for you, I feel like this is it's not like a in-your-face catalyst. It's not a big, booming, dun, dun, dun event. It's more okay, I know I'm ready now to take that step. What steps do I need to take? This is the thing I've been putting off, or I've tried to do it 3 different times. I'm not looking forward to it. It's a little bit boring, or like, I don't know if it's going to work again, but it is the absolute next step that needs to be taken in order for you to move forward after this. So I feel like the catalyst is actually something that you are initiating. You're bringing it to the table. It's not something that's happening to you or outside of you. It's you're initiating it. And that's important because with that 3 energy, the 3 energy is creation. And I feel like that the energy needs to be pure. It needs to be your energy. So of course, if you're creating, you want to create with your energy, not with someone else's energy. And I feel like that's what that is all about. And now we are focusing on our deep root. What deep belief, wound, or soul contract is driving this transformation under the surface in June? Ooh, Queen of Swords. Okay, so you've been giving a lot of thought to the depth of your relationships of late. And I feel like the Queen of Swords is coming through with her sword of thoughtfulness, but also her sword of boundary to say, in relationship, anyone or anything that is not feeling like a deep connection needs to just be put on the back burner for a while. I need to focus on those relationships that light my fire and float my boat. And when we talk about Queen of Swords energy, she does represent in big ways boundaries. This doesn't mean, Scorpio, that I feel like you guys are unprotected or that something bad is going to happen. But this does feel like you are protecting your ideas. You're protecting your creative flow, because I feel like feeding the artist, this is the thing that you've not been feeling overly creative about for the last several months and possibly even a year and a half, that you've been feeling a bit stuck, a bit stale. Now that the flow is starting, you don't want anything to get in the way of it to block it, because it's not a full flow yet, right? And it's not a trickle, but it's just starting to get there. So you don't want anything to get in the way. And quite frankly and quite honestly, people can get in the way. And I know you guys know this because you have that ability to really connect with those that matter to you, that make a difference. And you do have a way of being able to just sort of separate anyone or anything to the sides that isn't working for you. This feels like a big overhaul where you're going to have to separate yourself from a lot of people, including some people that you absolutely love. You wouldn't anticipate having to, put them on the chopping block for a little while, but yet that's exactly what I'm feeling is the journey here, the transformation around here. So this is a catalyst because you're going to start to recognize how much energy you actually need in order to bring this idea to light. You're also going to notice that you're going to have a lot of people in June freaking out about various energies that are going on and what's transpiring, all the quick, all the fast. I want to say it's not your circus, not your monkeys. And you can be a comfort. You can commiserate. You can say, oh, I'm so sorry, that's happened to you. You can be a good listener. But I feel like all of your energy needs to really be devoted to you, the things that matter to you. And again, if you're not asking for help and you're focusing on the basics and the details and getting all of that right, all of these other people are going to be a distraction to this. And I feel like there's a part of you that you just don't want to be distracted. Like you'd rather dive all in to what this is because that's your happy place at this time. So honor that. Boundaries is going to be a big thing. And I feel that there are going to be some people who will test your boundaries around that as well. Now, trust that if they're testing your boundaries, that's a very good indicator for you that it's time for them to go on the back burner. And don't think twice about it. Don't feel bad about it. Are they going to have some words for you? Are they going to have some feelings on the matter? Yeah. But you know how to deal with that. Too bad, so sad. I'm sorry that you feel that way. I'll call you in a week when I'm ready to reconnect again. Love you, mean it. And I feel like that's just the way it's got to be. Okay, deep. Oh, we just did deep roots. Sorry, I was talking about the catalyst, but that's deep roots and the soul contract and the deep belief. So now we are at our past phase that I want to say, what's dying away? What is dying away? What part of you is falling away? What role, pattern, or identity has run its course? Wow. Okay. So very much drawn to the Egyptian energy here, feeling that there is some past life energy that you are releasing. Let's call it karma. Let's call it, again, soul contract energy. And I feel like, with the sun, it's the light of truth. It's a yes. It's the positive. It's the joy. It's not that you're letting go of the yes and the joy. I feel like what you're letting go of is that the sun, when burning too brightly, when burning hot all day long, there's a reason why the sun goes down and the moon goes up. Because if the sun just hovered on one spot and stayed there for too long, it would become unlivable. It would be scorched earth, right? I feel like this, in essence, is what you're releasing. You're releasing the too much of the energy being infused, too much attention being paid to too many scattered focuses, right? Scattered energy, not being able to follow through with one thing or the other. And you've had to go into more of a recharge mode. It was somewhat easy for you to do that, but sad for you to do that, because when you go into recharge mode, you go into your creative happy place, but that has been shut down too. So I feel like what's dying away now is that scorched earth kind of energy. And you are opening up to feed the artist. There is that artistic flow that's coming into the mix. But you're also releasing this past karmic energy. And it's not important for you to know what that past karmic energy is. I feel like that's actually sort of antithetical to the whole point of this, which is I'm cutting things out. I'm boundaried. I'm releasing this so that I can move forward into that. And I feel like you're choosing the artist. You're choosing that creative energy and flow. I also am hearing the word heart. And I want to say, this is not for everybody, but for some of you, there may be some heart palpitations. There may be some maybe anxiety attacks or panic attacks, or maybe even some blood pressure issues that may come up around this. Just trust that when that happens, and PS and FYI, I'm not a medical person, a medical intuitive, any of that stuff. So go see a doctor if you're having those issues. But what I want to say to you around all of this is, I feel like if you are a person that's having that, it's reflective of the fact that this really is the time that you are, like, it's good that you're releasing this. It's good that you're setting boundaries, because if you were to waste any more time or wait any longer, the heart is the one that is reflecting what hasn't been dealt with. The heart is trying to say to you, hey, we don't have to go down this path. Hey, this is too much. Hey, let's take a break. Let's take a breather. So I feel like that's really important. Highest potential. What can rise from the ashes? What is your soul calling you toward? And this is breakthrough energy. So here's where you're going to get a breakthrough. Oh, interesting. So we have the Queen of Swords, that is that boundaried space. And now we have the Page of Swords. So it feels like going backwards. But really what it is the Queen of Swords said, hey, here's some boundaries so that you can come back to a new school of thought. This is a new approach to what it is that wants to birth itself through you in June. And again, because you're feeding your artist, you don't want to your artist has not been fed for a really long time. So you don't want to show up with the king energy, the full feast, because that artist isn't ready for that energy. The page artist, the student energy, or the youthful energy, they have smaller stomachs. So let's give them, the nourishment that they need, and we can build them up, to what is required. I feel very much like that's what's coming up and coming through here is your highest potential rising from the ashes in June is to not go backwards to the Page of Swords, but to go forward into the Page of Swords, because you're starting a new cycle, but you're not starting it right at the beginning. You're starting it from that student energy, that open-mindedness, that teach me, show me, I want to learn something new. And I feel like this is exactly where you need to be. Look at his stance here, or her stance. Their stance is very triumphant, confident. I've got an idea, I've got an inspiration, and I'm, standing at a space that's higher because I know instinctively and intuitively to have that higher perspective, I get to see more. And from there, I can enact the plan. I can create the plan. I can move ahead with confidence. So when we're talking about that rising from the ashes, I feel like you're getting your confidence back. You're not only getting that flow back, but you're getting your confidence back, and it's that new thought. And you're not coming at it from a stubborn place. You're actually coming at it from a very open place and saying, all right, universe, I'm ready. I'm ready for what it is that you are offering to me now. I'm not going to judge it. I'm not going to question it. I'm going to lean into it and trust that you're going to unfold this process for me now. Ooh, I love that. And we're talking about our next step. What is just around the corner? What energy or experience is coming in to support the next phase? Oh, beautiful. Queen of Coins. I love it. Okay. So structure around what you are manifesting, because this is a co-creative process and you've been starved of the co-creation for a while. Now things are opening up and there is that flow. It's more than a trickle, but you still want more. You really are working towards that resourcefulness, that abundance. Queen of Coins is the perfect energy for that, because she's sitting in all of the resource. And not only is she a resource for the physical and the tangible, she's also a great resource to be able to teach you how to do it for yourself. So I definitely feel in this energy here, you're going to be seeking out a particular teacher or mentor to help you to bring this new thought, this Page of Swords, into the mix, bringing this new thought into being. And the teaching part for you is that, give a man a fish, he'll eat for a day. Teach a man to fish, he'll eat for a lifetime. You're recognizing that this idea really matters. It's important. It's significant. It's going to make a difference. And you don't want to half-ass it. You want it to really stand out, to give it its traction, its sea legs. You're not going to half-ass it. You're going to give it your all. And in order to do that, you recognize, I want to measure twice and cut once. And in order to do that, I need to go to someone who maybe has been through the process or has been through a similar process. Because again, you don't want to tell anybody about the step 1 and the step 2. You want to do that yourself. So perhaps this is kind of that step 3 energy that's coming through, or you're preparing during your step 1 and step 2 time. You're doing some research on who you're going to be reaching out to, who's going to be able to give you the golden ticket, the answer, the secret, the path to being as successful as you can possibly be with this endeavor. And I do feel that your goal in this is success. That's the next step, is I don't want to do this unless I can go all the way. I feel like for some of you, for a lot of you, there has been this energy of something that got cut short or cut off maybe 2-ish years ago. And it was kind of devastating for you. It was sad. You really wanted to go through with it. You had follow through with it. You had traction. And all of a sudden, everything just kind of shut down. While I don't feel that you're picking that back up, because I do feel that this is new. I want to say that there is almost like a healing from that grief and that loss through this new start and the success that comes from this new start. So Queen of Coins, I feel, also is providing you with a deep level of healing opportunity. And it's all starting here in the month of June. Ooh, I love that. What part are you playing in your own life and in your own world? How are you navigating your transformation in June? Are you resisting, flowing, grieving, or boldly rising? Oh, I love it. We've got the Chariot. You are boldly rising. You are going where no one has gone before. And what I find really fascinating about this is I don't even know what type of sort of sea creature this is, but it's got, maybe it's like a shark, like a sawtooth shark or something. This is some pretty serious shit. And I feel like that's exactly what you're bringing to this, is you're saying, okay, if my role in all of this is the motivation, is the fuel, that I do need to bring that courageousness, that boldness into the mix, I'm going all in. I'm doing it all the way or not at all. I'm also really drawn to the 7 in the Chariot. And I'm drawn to the 7 because the 7 is a very spiritual number, it's the number of divinity. It's also in numerologically, the sort of the linear numerological journey of the energy of numbers. It is the prototype. This is okay, I've created this amazing thing. I can see its potential before I put it into mass production. Let's make sure that we dot all the I's and cross all the T's. And so I feel like that's what you're bringing to the Chariot. You paid attention to the detail. You built the basics and got really good with the basics in that 3 of Coins. You're taking that step 1 and that step 2 now, and you're all in. And the Chariot is going to bring you there. It might not bring you there with a lot of comfortability, but it's definitely going to bring you there quickly. And I feel, again, if your success is assured, then there's nothing you need to be worried about. You just move forward. Trust in the plan that you have built or that you are building and move forward. So you're bringing the boldness. You're bringing the determination. You're bringing that bravery into the mix. For those of you who are angel peeps, I feel not that this card is associated with Archangel Michael, but I'm feeling Archangel Michael. So ask Archangel Michael for help because he's not in the physical. So you can ask for help from your dream team, your unseen guides. Just don't ask for help from the humans that are still in the physical, at least for this month, at least for the month of June. Okay, let's talk about your circles of support. Who or what is influencing your transformation right now, positively or negatively? Okay, we've got another queen. This is your 3rd queen. Wow. That's kind of important. Let me just double check. Yeah, that's your 3rd queen. So we have swords, cups, and coins. And look, they're all on the diagonal, all on an angle here. Okay, so circles of support. Queen of Cups is coming in and coming through for you right now to say, listen, I got your back. Queen of Cups is you. This is a Scorpio card. So I feel like you are your own support. And it makes a lot of sense if your guidance is to not ask for physical help from physical people, and you're supposed to stay in your connection to self and source. Queen of Cups is you. So all of the things that you need is within you. I also want to say to you with the Queen energy, and especially because we've got 3, Queen energy is about structure, order, organization, and delegation. And I feel like for you here, it's the structure, but it's how do you build a structure in the water? Building a bridge in the water or a structure or a building in the water or underwater is a very different undertaking than if you're building it on land. And I'm not an architect, so don't ask me what those differences are, but I can only imagine there are different challenges. Maybe you'd have to dam off and drain that section of the water in order to be able to make sure it's dry and solid. Maybe you got to wait a long time for that earth to dry up a little bit so that you can have some, solidity. Maybe you have to get creative in different ways to anchor the building to that. I feel like all of this is coming up and coming through here in your circles of support, because you are evaluating. I'm building things, but I'm creating things on different surfaces. I'm creating things in different energies and in different emotional spaces and states. And each one of these things that I'm building, or each idea that I'm building, needs to be reflected in these different environments. So I feel like that support is going to come through your connection to source energy, either through meditation, activation, readings, card pulls, whatever it is, whatever your mode of receiving and your preferred guidance journey is. You definitely want to step into that, because that's what's going to bring you the support. And, like talking to your friends and stuff is fine. Just don't share the big steps, or don't ask for help when you're taking step 1 and step 2. I feel like that's just the most important thing to take away from that. Wow. So interesting that you showed up in your own support, your support energy. I love it. Hopes and fears. What are you dreaming of becoming, and what scares you about actually doing it? So what I keep hearing before I even flip over the card is that you right now are going through a fear of being seen. And I suppose this makes a little bit of sense, since it's been a while since you've really been able to sort of sink your teeth into that creative flow. That now, as you're doing it, you're like, oh, I feel like a baby again, like I'm having to relearn technique. And it makes me think about, I go through these crochet journeys every so often, where I get into this crazy crochet journey. I'm crocheting like a mad woman. And then I'm through that phase and I don't pick it up again for like another 6 months or a year. And then I have to go back and relearn all the stitches. I mean, every time I do it, it comes back quicker, but I still have to relearn it. I feel like that's kind of the energy of what you're going through right now. And that's where the fear is at for you, is the fear of being seen, because, oh my God, I'm fumbling. I'm trying to figure out my new way. I'm trying to get to know this new version of myself. So interesting that we now have the Knight of Cups right after the Queen of Cups. The Knight of Cups is the Queen's cohort, the Queen's support, not cohort, sorry, not lover. That's the King, or counterpart. The Knight of Cups is like the Queen's best friend, the right-hand man, so to speak, the right-hand person. And there's a lot of idealism here. And I feel like you're aware of your idealism. You're also aware of what you have been capable of in the past, and what you're kind of like, shit, can I reach that again? Like I wish I could just be there. Another analogy that's coming up in my mind is I'm a trained opera singer, and I sang all over the globe for years. When I was done with that shit, I was done. And I haven't really sung a note. I certainly haven't sung publicly in any capacity for probably 10 years now. I'd have to do math on that, but whatever. And I think to myself, should I even bother telling anybody that I used to do this? Because everybody then wants to hear you sing. And I'm like, it's so far removed from the person that I am now. But when I do think about it, I'm like, oh, I really loved singing that song. And I can remember what it felt like to sing that song. And there's sadness in the fact that I can't sing it in that way anymore. So I feel like this is kind of the energy. It's like the Knight of Cups is coming up and coming through to acknowledge that idealism, that idea that I used to be able to do this in this way, and now I'm having to kind of relearn it. And I'm not starting from scratch, but I am not at a place where I used to, you can't just plug and play. There are steps that I need to take. And I feel like that's where the fear is coming up for you, is in I don't want anyone to see me, because maybe they're going to judge based on the things that I've created in the past, right? On who I've been in the past. And I'm going to say to you, honor that. It's okay that you're doing that. I feel like that's why your guides are saying, don't involve anybody else until you get on your path and get started, because you don't need to put yourself through that. And PS and FYI, if they're going to judge you, who cares? Like, you don't need them. But I do feel that is the concern for you, is gosh, I'm not at the level that I used to be. And I'm grieving that, but I also certainly don't want anyone else to point it out for me. Thank you so much. I know my strengths. I know my weaknesses. I don't need you to shove it in my face. Thank you so much. Wow. Interesting. Okay. Outcome. This is your highest and best outcome if you stay on course. Who will you be on the other side of this journey? What is the result of embracing the full cycle of death and rebirth? Oh, interesting. Seven of Swords. So I'm feeling like this is, when I see this, it's a card of strategy, new strategy, who you're becoming. I feel like you're becoming a person who chooses to engage in a different way with strategy. So old world energy, old patriarchal paradigm energy says 1 + 2 = 3. Everything is linear. It's all about the logic and the rationality, and fuck the creative flow, right? Fuck the divine feminine. We want to be all divine masculine, all in, all the time, in all ways. And that has created this need for I, me, mine. I need to protect what is mine because there's only so much to go around. I feel like you're letting this go. And instead, you're taking this as an opportunity not to steal from, the big bad guy or whatever the case may be. Instead, you're saying, let me rethink the strategy. Let me come up with a different way or a different approach. You're a very divine feminine energy by nature. So you're going to bring that divine feminine to whatever dynamic is coming up for you. And if we are looking at that feed your artist, and clearly you are getting ready to birth something into being, you're on that, you're on the precipice of it. You're taking those steps forward. Who you're becoming is not a person with a lack of integrity. It's a person with integrity. It's a person who says, there's got to be a different way to do this. Because if I do it in the old ways, the frequency doesn't match. All of these queens are going to be pissed at me because what I'm supposed to focus on is that divine feminine energy and allowing opportunity to lead me to the next step, not in terms of strategy A + B = C, 1 + 2 = 3. That is limiting. And what you're opening up to is structure, guidance, organization from a divine feminine perspective, which is more inclusive and it's creative. And that's what it's all about for you. Oh my goodness, my goodness, my goodness. All right, Scorpios, that is your transformational tarot reading for the month of June. And it's going to be pretty incredible. I can't wait to hear in the comments how this unfolds for you in this month. As always, sending you guys so much love, so much support. I hope you have an incredible rest of your month, and we will see you on the flip side.